Hello and welcome to my channel. And if it's your first time, my name is Bong Young, Bongi if you like. And today I want to touch on a subject that is really, it's a tricky one, can be considered a taboo to discuss, as it is difficult to talk about such a plague, if I may call it that. But it's something that needs to be addressed and dealt with. I think porn is a hidden relationship problem that ruins a lot of relationships and marriages. So this video is not really meant to cast a stone on anybody or to judge. In fact, we are in this journey together. Hopefully it should instead help inform us, help us support one another on this journey to try and make some changes and adjustments in our lives to better our relationships and our families and the youth of today looking forward into the future. We may not realize the gravity of the problem in itself, but it is grave. And the human body as it is and our sexuality is beautiful and it is a good thing, but it is how we use it and abuse it that is the problem. And porn in itself leads to that, but it's also in the mind. And if we don't work on it, we get seduced and drawn so much into it that to let go of that behavior becomes really difficult and challenging. So I'm going to address what porn is, and we know it is one of the greatest addictions in the world today. It is one of the biggest kept secrets in marriages and relationships, dating, courting, engagements, even in the single life, if you may. Now, the intent in its creation is to provoke lust in us, which in itself is void of love, void of intimacy, void of responsibility and family. It can harm a specific couple interaction. For example, communication can be harmed and affected. Sexual desire can be harmed and affected, which then becomes a negative influence in our relationships and in the search for satisfaction in any way. So it becomes an experience of desire and fulfillment, which is gained through a virtual means, which will hardly ever be met in reality. And if we come to think of it, our kids get addicted to cartoons and TV. Why? Sometimes because what they see on there is not what they see in real life. They see cars fly, they see human beings flying. But when they come to real life, it's boring, or it seems boring. Why they find life boring is because of the attachment that they've had to this media or to this cartoon. And that is why kids throw a tantrum sometimes if you don't give them a mobile phone or an iPad to play with. Porn is also a plague that is destroying our society and relationships. It's worse than, I would say, than the pandemic at the moment. No wonder statistics shows that 57% of couples that are affected by porn actually end up in divorce. So if we think about it, it's a high percentage. But what about the remaining 43% that are still married? Does it mean they are no longer affected? They still are. Now, some statistic online shows that in the last 6 months, viewing of porn, 73% of women viewed porn in the last six months, and 98% of men did. That's a huge percentage. And if we narrow that down to weekly viewing, 20% of women viewed and 80% of men viewed. So what we get to see with this is that the digital world has made porn very accessible. We have our phones with us all the time, iPads, the internet is just a stone throw. It's so accessible. Another statistic that we got from a survey, 1 in 5 mobile phone searches are for porn content. 1 in 5. There is a high percentage of subscription from young people aged 15 to 24. 64% of Christian men and 15% of Christian women watch it at least once a month. So the thing is, we seriously need to seek help and start reconsidering what this is doing to us and our relationships. This shows men and women watch it alike, Christians and non-Christians alike, adults and youth alike, couples and single people alike, religious and non-religious leaders alike. Everybody is watching it. And the worst thing I found out online recently is that the first exposure of men to porn content is at the age of 6. So, no, not 6, apologies, at the age of 12. That's the first exposure of men to porn at the age of 12. So think about it. Think about our young people now, our kids who are 12. What are they watching online when they are on the internet? I'll carry on with this for a part 2 video shortly. Thank you. Just stay tuned.